والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If there are any questions, we'll take them now. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. MashaAllah. What would they say? What did the cat drag in? Type anything from the brothers here? Fadl Ahmed.
What fingers is it permissible for a man to wear ring on?
Question is regarding what fingers are lawful for a man to wear, or upon which are lawful for a man to wear. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. No doubt, the simple answer is the smallest of your fingers, or some call the pinky ring or the small finger, the ring finger. That or those two we can say for sure, yaqinan, inshallah ta'ala. As far as the middle finger and the index finger, then that's clearly prohibited in the Hadith of Ali. And as far as the thumb, then I don't know of a hadith regarding prohibiting a man from wearing a ring, a thumb on his ring. Some scholars say it's unfathomable, unbefitting of a man, so on and so forth, etc. But there's no hardcore proof prohibiting that. So therefore, for sure, these two fingers, perhaps this finger, avoid these two fingers. Obviously, the scholars of hadith and all of their books, those who wrote Jawami or Sunan, Sihah, books that are topically arranged and organized, they have a chapter of a tarajjul, or a zina, or a libas, clothing, beautification and adornment, or manhood, manliness. And in those different chapters, Bukhari, Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, they talk about the Prophet ﷺ's rings. What type of ring, where did he wear his ring, so on and so forth. The wisdoms behind the ring, the wisdoms behind the prohibitions of certain fingers, etc. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Fadl Mamoon. Question is concerning gold. The material of the ring. There is no doubt gold, pure gold, should be avoided. And many have quoted that there's consensus, ijma'. Haramun ala dhukuri ummati, hillun li'inathihim. Aw kama qal. Okay, many ahadith in which the Prophet ﷺ avoided wearing gold and shunned the companions from wearing gold rings. As far as gold plated, gold coated, flash colored gold, and or white gold, and some even argue platinum, then that's debatable. We can agree that solid gold is prohibited. Gold plated, we can't necessarily agree. Some say even gold plated is unlawful, but it isn't as strong of an argument as the solid gold, for several reasons. One, it isn't as expensive, and the pride that comes along with solid gold and solid silver isn't the pride that comes with that can be scraped or faded away. As far as white gold, then that's even further from a position of strength concerning the prohibition. I wouldn't wear white gold, and I wouldn't advise a Muslim man to wear white gold. However, some argue, many argue, is that there's no such thing as white gold. Many argue is that there's no such thing as white gold. Gold is ahmar, red, or asfar, yellow. That's it. There's no such thing as white gold. And they say if the gold is white, whether it's called white or whether it looks white like silver, then it isn't gold. Having some elements of gold in its alloy, in its composition, maybe, but it isn't gold. And others, modern day researchers, because it is relatively a modern day discussion, they say is that rather the percentage of pure gold that is contained in white gold is high enough to make it take the same ruling as the pure yellow or red gold. Then obviously it's a very long discussion concerning chemistry okay, and concerning alchemy, right? Concerning the different metals, blending them, burning them, so on and so forth. It's a discussion. It's an argument to be made. Platinum is even what? Further from that. So solid gold, gold plated, white gold, platinum. Platinum is even what? Is even further. The furthest planet from sun or earth, as they say, whatever, Pluto. You get the point I'm trying to make. Right? It says freezing cold because it's what? It's the furthest one. It's the furthest from the sun. So it is the furthest from the sun's what? Heat. You get the point I'm trying to make, the metaphor. So the prohibition will be weaker the what? The further away it is. And that's a general qaida for life. That which the Prophet ﷺ specifically spoke about by word. And then there's something which is similar to it. And then there's another issue in which they differ over the hadith. And then the scholars say it's similar. The further you get away from it, the what? The weaker the what? That's the fa'idah for us. And that's very important to understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. So therefore the ring that a man wears, it can be silver, it can be brass, inshallah. It can be iron or metal, stainless steel. It can be from other materials as long as it isn't gold, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And Allah surely knows best. And of course, there are many, many other discussions that the scholars make concerning plating something with gold or silver. And some say, such as some Shafi'i scholars, is that if the amount of gold that's used to plate or to some type of embroidery or some type of design, if it's such a trifle that it cannot be removed and sold separately, then is what? Nothing, there's no prohibition upon you. And certain watches, certain types of jewelry use certain side products, byproducts of gold. But it is not enough to be what? Worth something. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Hold on.
What's the ruling on a man wearing not pure silk, clothes that are not made of pure silk?
Synthetic silk? Many scholars have allowed synthetic silk for the same wisdom. Why they allow gold colored or gold plated? Because it isn't real. And the pride and the arrogance that comes with the pure silk isn't like that which comes with al-harir al-istina'i. Okay, synthetic silk, man-made silk. So many scholars have allowed that.
What if it's like something that is like it's like 80% cotton?
That's a different story. And two different issues now, Ahmed. Synthetic silk is one thing, and mixed, blended fabrics is a different discussion, which is known as thiyab al-khaz. Al-khaz shay. Wal-harir al-istina'i ish? Shay akhar. All right, so a blend, there's also a discussion. And the summarized answer is that many scholars allow a man to wear a blend as long as the silk isn't dominant. So if it's 40 silk, 60 cotton, many say what? It's all right. 60% silk, 40% polyester cotton, they say what? No. Wallahu ta'ala alam. إلا كما جاء في الحديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رخص أي نعم والزبير لا شك في ذلك ومن أهل العلم من قاس على ذلك بعض الأحوال وبعض المواضع يعني قالوا بالقياس والله تعالى أعلم. And of course the faida here with regards to the times in which it is permissible to wear silk out of necessity, which we won't mention right now, when a man can wear pure silk. Wallahu ta'ala alam. And of course, I mean, we can go further and further and further down a rabbit hole. The rulings of sitting on silk, laying upon silk. If your wife has a silk cover, can you lay upon it? Can you sleep under it? Etc., etc., etc. I remember one time I was going camping. I was trying to go camping. And I was in a camping store. And they had this foldable camping blanket that was made from silk. It was like a dynamic type of cover. It wasn't like a, to keep you like a snow type of, it was made when it's like hot, cover your face, no bugs, no mosquitoes, but it's not gonna make you sweat. And it was like next level. Like it was, you understand? It was like a temptation. It was major. The way it was folded up, it was crazy. And it was pure silk. And you can't buy it, I'd say, because you can't, the scholars, they say, wearing it, sitting upon it, riding upon it, laying under it, wrapping yourself in it, etc. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Fadal. السلام ورحمة الله.
الحمد لله. فعندي سؤال خير يا جماعة.
تفضل.
كنا جالسين أمام الشنطة
ها
وأتوا إلينا ناس الكنيسة
ها
قالوا لنا تعالوا نمشوا في الكنيسة كده فيها حاجات مخصوصة وكده. طبعا عندنا
ها
مساجين في البلد.
ها
بعدين كلمناهم قلنا إننا لا
لم تطمئن.
يسهلون علينا أن نمشوا نذهب إلى
آه.
الكنيسة.
آه.
بس فقط قال لنا لا ما عندي مشكلة بس إذا قعدوا هناك فيها شغل تخطب.
فهمت عليك.
كنا هناك بالسنة في القاهرة.
ها
جلسنا
الناس
حتى في كانوا يصلون وقفنا معهم ورا. أنا في النهاية أنا رفضت قلت لا أنا ما أصلي. جلست هيك حتى الآية انتهت
ها
وطلعت.
ومشيت. أنا فهمت. إن شاء الله ليس عليك شيء. الأحسن أن الواحد يبتعد عن الكنيسة حتى ولو كان محتاجا، لكن لو احتاج إلى ما في أيديهم من المساعدات أو العون فإنه يأخذ بقدر الحاجة ويبتعد، يشكر لهم يقدرهم شكرا ويمشي. الدين والاعتناق شيء، شكرا ويمشي. وأنه لو احتاط لدينه وابتعد ولم يأخذ منهم شيئا فطبعا هذا أحسن وأفضل وأسلم لدين الرجل. لكن الإشكال أن المساجد يعني ماذا توفر للمسلمين اللاجئين؟ يعني ماذا نوفر؟ يعني هذا إشكالية. نسأل الله العافية إن شاء الله. نعم شيخ، مشكلة كذلك. اجتهدوا. نسأل الله العفو والعافية. والله أعلم. Anything more line or anything else on the brothers? فضل أخي.
If a person wants to invest in a company and the contract states that they'll have like a guaranteed return on investment in a stipulated time, is that considered riba?
That they do have a guaranteed?
Yeah. Like let's say you invest $1,000 and then the contract says that in 1 year I'll pay you $1,000 and then the return on investment.
Understood. If it's an investment, it's an investment. It's not a loan. It isn't something that they're lending to you, nor you lending it to them, but you actually have the intention of investing in the company. And for competition's sake, competitive prices and rates, because there are other companies that you can invest in, they're saying, listen, this is what we guarantee as a base, what you'll get back in this amount of time as an investor. That isn't the same as you lending money and then getting back interest upon what you lent them, even though it could be similar in wording and appearance, but it's different. And of course, investments in Islam are lawful as long as they aren't specifically prohibited. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Fadal.
Bronx, New York, PA. In my home country, some people say that they celebrate Mawlid not as ibadah but as urf, so it's not a bid'ah. How would you reply? What's the limit of urf and bid'ah?
Someone says that they celebrate the Mawlid not because of ibadah, but because of urf, custom. What's the difference between this and that, so on and so forth? I don't think a person is being truthful and honest with themselves. And how can a person talk about the Prophet's birthday with not thinking about worship? How does that make any sense? As if the Prophet's birthday is some normal person's birthday. How can you remove ibadah from the discussion? For argument's sake, it's permissible to celebrate the Prophet's birthday, for argument's sake. Because you're mentioning the Prophet, you're reading his seerah, you're reflecting on Allah's blessings, etc., 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 etc. These are the justifications of people who do it. Because it is getting them, according to their claim, closer to Allah. So if you celebrate the Prophet's birthday without thinking about Allah and the hereafter in your deen, what the heck? Rather, it's even worse for you. You're worse off than those who are doing it. Because perhaps they have an excuse on the day of judgment. They sincerely love the law, they love the messenger of Allah. This scholar told me it's permissible for land in this university, blah, blah, blah. This brother from this university, the oldest university in the world, don't listen to the Wahhabis. Okay, for argument's sake. Now you're just celebrating the Prophet's birthday just because it's eat, drink, have fun. And once again, the shaitan is very crafty. And he doesn't care how he sweeps your legs, as long as you hit the ground. Don't ever forget that. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
MD Atlanta, Georgia. What is the ruling of being involved in a loan whereby the lender and the borrower are both benefiting?
A loan in which the lender and the borrower are both benefiting. How?
R.E. Richmond, Virginia. Will a person be forgiven if they commit sin over and make repentance? They feel awful every time they fall hypocritical.
If you fall 7 times, you get up 8 times. It's that simple. It's just that simple. You make a sin, you make tawbah. فإنه كان للأوابين غفورا. والله أعلم.
M.A. Bronx, New York. What's your response when somebody tells you Happy Father's Day, etc., etc.?
Somebody tells me Happy Father's Day. What's my response? It depends. Are they giving me something for free at the market? A discount, a price? Am I getting something out of Father's Day? Or they're just saying it just to say it? At the end of the day, wait a second. Did he just come from up the steps? The sister side? It seems as if he did, right? You on the sister side? Yes or no? هذا طلع فوق ان الحريم الظاهر بس لف. You can't hear me? Okay, طيب. The answer is yes. طيب, at the end of the day, repeat the question, Ahmed.
What's the response when somebody tells you Happy Father's Day, etc.?
وقل لعبادي يقولوا التي هي أحسن وقولوا للناس حسنا. عموما. So you speak good to the people. You say good things to the people. Thank you. Have a good day. That's it. And if you choose not to say thank you, say have a good one. Take care. Even to a non-Muslim. There's some scholars, we've explained this in a detailed lecture. There's some scholars who even allow you to say Merry Christmas. Now you may disagree with that. That's fine. I'm not saying I agree with it, but you know, oh, that's crazy. But if you look at his fatwa and how he explained it and broke it down, you live with non-Muslims. You have non-Muslim co-workers, relatives. They say Eid Mubarak, Happy Ramadan. They give you offer to Eid, offer Jumu'ah. They give you a bonus. But then when their holidays come along, it's, oh, I'm a Puritan, haram, astaghfirullah. He said that's a little what? It's a little off, right? Now just think about that now. You live in a Muslim society, all Muslims, different story. But you're literally mixed and intertwined with what? With the kuffar, the 24/7. So you saying nothing to them, if they say something to you during their holiday, is a bit what? It's a bit rude. And also could be bad for dawah. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I'm trying to show you the rationale of thinking. So even if someone says something to you, congratulating for a thing that you don't believe in or celebrate, it doesn't mean that you can't be professional and courteous and polite back. That's the moral of the story. So for argument's sake, a person says, Merry Christmas, Happy Father's Day. You could say for argument's sake, you too. For argument's sake. Doesn't mean you believe in it and celebrate it. And if you just said thank you or have a nice day, Wallahu ta'ala alam. You don't have to be nasty to the people. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. Say good things to the people. Allah tells us in the Quran. That's a Quranic guidance. Even to a kafir. Huh? Wallahu ta'ala alam.
F.A. Houston, Texas. What's the ruling of learning maqamat?
What's the ruling on what?
Learning maqamat.
Learning maqamat. I don't know what you mean by maqamat. Maqamat of the religion? The highest point of the religion? Or you talking about something else?
A.M.A.C. New Jersey. From a scholastic standpoint and perspective, how was the ruling of Nafru created?
From a scholastic standpoint, How was the ruling makruh created? You study, inshallah ta'ala, the basics of fiqh, usul al-fiqh, and you clearly see the examples of something that's makruh. Something that the Prophet says don't do, but then later on he does it and says, I only told you not to do it for such and such. It's best not to do. It's best to avoid. But if you choose not to take the path of piety and you want to do it, no problem. Many examples for that. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
MSI, San Diego, California. Assalamu alaikum. How do you deal with calamities that you brought upon yourself from your mistakes, even though you exhausted yourself trying to do everything right, but you fell, but you fell short? How can you begin to feel happy afterwards?
How do you deal with calamities that fell upon you after?
Fell upon yourself from your mistakes.
From your mistakes. At the end of the day, nobody is perfect. And the one who thinks that he's perfect is delusional. And the one who realizes his mistakes and knows his mistakes is better off than the one who thinks that he's perfect. So no matter how hard you go and play, no matter how well you strategize and calculate, no matter how many times you measure before you cut, one way or another you're going to cut yourself or something's going to be off with your cut. That's life. You must accept it as a human. That's first and foremost. Second of all, maybe you should stop using the word calamities. Calamity is a serious word. A test, a trial, a misfortune, a mishap, calamity. So you have to think positively, right? How many points, Talib, for removing suffering? 8. And from those 8 points is what? You must think with the what? With the deep mind. There you go, the deep mind. So you got to stop thinking negatively. You got to stop speaking negatively. If Allah tests you or tries you, it doesn't mean that He's punishing you or that He hates you. And if something doesn't go your way, it doesn't mean that it's a calamity. It's a mishap. All right? And you should learn from that mishap, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
AK St. Louis, Missouri. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. Hope you're well. How should an employee deal with refugee clients at the workplace who ask for special monetary favors due to sharing the same ethnicity? How should one protect himself from being overwhelmed? Sometimes the favors are taken on responsibilities that the employee has nothing to do with outside of their jurisdiction.
How to deal with migrant or immigrant co-workers who ask for special or certain monetary favors, etc. It can be overwhelming, etc. If you're working, anytime money is involved, be a professional. Period. The further you're a professional, the better. The more you're a professional, the safer it is for you, for them, for the company. So you tell them, I can't do this favor for you. If you're asking me for a personal favor, meet me after work. Before I go in, if you need to borrow some money, no problem. In the workplace, no favors for no one. Professionalism. Follow the rules. You don't what? You don't break the rules. Wallahu alam. And if they get mad and angry at you because we're the same ethnicity, hook a brother up, hook me up. I would love to hook you up, but it ain't my money that I'm hooking you up with.
RA from Boston, Massachusetts. What madhab do you follow, and what do we say to people who ask about our madhab, but we have none?
What madhab do I follow? And what do we say? People ask about what madhabs do we follow and we have none? Next question.
KB, Montreal, Canada. What could be the causes behind a decrease of zeal for seeking knowledge?
What are the causes behind a decrease for the zeal of seeking knowledge? Bad company, sins, heedlessness. Could be a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of sins. And it could be forgetfulness. You've fallen victim to your human nature. And that is why you have to constantly fight your human nature. And these are things that we should learn from the fashion industry, the perfume industry, the makeup industry. These things are all made for the human being, especially women, to fight their nature of aging, of wrinkling, of smelling, of. So everything from head to toe, if the woman's, she's in tune with everything, is meant to go against her human nature. If I sleep, if I eat this, if I drink this, this is going to smell, this is going to this. So she's fighting that. And the more conscious she is, the sharper she's going to be, and the better smelling and the better looking. You get the point I'm trying to make? So right now, human nature is to forget. It's to hang out, it's to chill, it's to have fun, it's to laugh and to joke. So you have to constantly be in the mindset of going against that tide, of being with the brothers in the masjid, listening to the lectures, reviewing the Quran, lowering the gaze, etc., etc. You have to constantly fight. And if you don't fight it, then you'll what? You'll fall back into that's the moral of the story. So you have to make sure that you're fighting that nature of laziness and of lethargy and of your peers, your friends, your homies. They're Muslims, but they just sit around, laugh, on their phones, and that's it. You can't be in that environment. You can't be around those people. Wallahu ta'ala alam. يعني ما هي الأسباب الواحد يعني تضعف همته عن التحصيل وعن الطلب يتكاسل يعني يرى نفسه في ارتكاس وفي انتقاص عما كان عليه من الهمة في الطلب والتحصيل والحفظ والله أعلم. معروف عندكم إلا. Next question, Ahmed.
No other question.
Brian.
Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
for a person trying to live like him, day, can you summarize his day to day that he did regularly?
Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abu Dawood, Jami' Tirmidhi, Sunan Ibn Majah, Sunan Nasa'i, Muwatta Malik, Musnad Ahmed, Sunan Darimi, Bulugh al-Maram, Riyad al-Salihin, Umdat al-Ahkam, وهكذا. Next question. Your problem, not mine. Question says, they refuted you, Ahmed. It says, Jazakallah khairan to Mufti and Jazakallah khairan to the brother reading aloud the questions online. Okay, maybe they're praising you.
KV Montreal, Canada. How to start new with the clean slate and do a complete 180 degrees when it comes to deen?
Starting new, doing a complete 180
No, when it comes to deen.
when it comes to deen. I don't think any Muslim can do a 180 or a clean slate. You can't start over with everything. You got to have something there already. No matter what you're going through, some things aren't changeable, right? There is no replacing this. This is permanent. Your username cannot be what? What did they tell you on the forum? Once you post, it can't be what? They tell you that, right? You can delete your comment, but your username what? Fadl. Fadl Ahmed.
I'm not trying to change the identity. Just
There's a question, but it doesn't
Keep
follow the.
They got to have initials. Initials, name, and state, and if not, no question. Jazakumullah khairan. And they from Queens. Queens, please explain how the khula works. In brief, the khula is mentioned in the Quran, but not by name. Allah talks in Surah Al-Baqarah, fi maftadat bihi. Okay? A woman ransoming herself and basically imposing a will upon her husband and basically forcing or nudging or persuading her husband to divorce her and to let her go. The husband refuses for one reason or another. She has her reasons why. She says, I'll offer you this money. Take back the ring, take back the gold, take whatever you want, just please let me go. He says yes. Khula. How long does she wait until she can remarry? That's the discussion, Ali. Does she keep her iddah period with her husband? That's a different discussion. What's important is if you look at the Quran and the Sunnah, and you look at the Sahaba, the Seerah of the Sahaba, you'll find that 9 out of 10 of the rulings of marriage and even death and a woman being a widow, they're all based off of regrowth and rebound or bouncing back. And that's very interesting, even though it's not part of the question of our lives. We get divorced, we spend all of these years before we get remarried. A woman gets divorced from her husband or her husband dies, you can't just, Oh, they'll shame you. Oh, you got married a week later. How could you? Blah, 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 blah. A woman is divorced. She gets remarried in the community. The brother comes and he wants to fight. You marry my ex-wife. I'm stuck for the law. You marry my ex-wife. I'm going to do this to you. Key word is what? Ex-wife. Dang, you didn't even wait. We got a divorce last week. Next Jumu'ah, you married to her. Would you? La, ya akhi. There's no time to waste in life, in the dunya. The reproductive system, the clock is ticking. Every second is precious of your life. So if you look at the Quran and Sunnah, you'll find all of these rulings about iddah and talaq and khula is all mentioned what? What's mentioned? You have to wait until you can remarry. She cannot remarry until as soon as that's done, then what? And that's the exact opposite of us today. So it goes to show you how culture and Islam are oftentimes two different things. As far as back to the question, the khula, then in brief and simple terms, the khula is the woman asking for a divorce, forcing her will upon the husband to divorce her through financial means. The husband grants it, he takes the money, and she must wait, inshallah ta'ala, one menstrual cycle, one period, before she can remarry. While she's waiting that one menstrual cycle, practically a month, technically a month, she isn't allowed to be with the ex-husband. They aren't allowed to be talking and sitting. She can't cook for him his favorite meal. You can't be in the house playing with the kids on your lap, blah, blah, blah. Me and mommy want to make it up. The marriage is immediately what? Terminated. So we understand the khula through talaq. Talaq is more like probation. Within the 3 months that most women are going to wait, 3 menstrual cycles or 3 pure states, the woman is allowed, rather encouraged, commanded to be with the husband. She's supposed to dress the way she normally dresses. She's supposed to cook for him. She's supposed to say, look, let's make this work. Don't let me go. She's supposed to. And technically speaking, they're still husband and wife. Once the iddah is up, the probational period is done, he cannot take her back unless she gives her consent with a new marital contract, wali, witnesses, mahar, etc. But the difference between that and the khula, to keep things simple, because there are different views on this, is that the moment the khula is granted, the marriage is terminated. You have to leave. If it's her house, she has to leave if it's your house. Trailer park, apartment, wiki up, whatever your means of lodging may be. A cardboard box under the bridge, wherever you live. Whoever owns that, you have to go. And she's allowed to marry as soon as she's done that one menstrual cycle. Many people, they get this confused. And many husbands, they play around with this. Allahumma musta'an. Wallahu a'lam. That's in brief. We have lectures and classes on this as well online.
NJ Philadelphia, PA. Assalamu alaikum. If attacked by a jinn while sleeping, is it because you're an evil person?
Attacked by a jinn when you're sleeping, is it because you're an evil person? No, not necessarily. But be careful saying that you've been attacked by a jinn. You may not be attacked by a jinn. It could be a bad dream, perhaps. It could be some type of psycho, phenomenon or whatever. Allahu alam. It doesn't have to be a jinn. If you have a, sleep paralysis, that's a very long discussion. You'd be shocked what the non-Muslims say about sleep paralysis. You'd be very shocked. All right? But just because something disturbs you in your sleep doesn't mean you were attacked by a jinn. And for argument's sake, you're sure, Allahu alam how, but you're sure there was a jinn. Does that mean that you're a bad person? Not necessarily. Wallahu alam. Ahmed.
Put it in the chat the proper stuff for
Fadal.
هل يجوز لك الشغل مع أحد غير مسلم ولا يصلي ويجب عليك نصحه؟
يجوز الشغل من أمور الدنيا ما لم يكن له عليك تأثير بمصاحبة هذا الرجل الشغل معه أنه أنت تتأثر به ويسحبك ويجرك إلى تعاونه. إذا لم يكن هذا يجوز أن الأمور الدنيوية التي أصلها الإباحة والجواز. أما هل يتوجب عليك نصحه؟ لا شك في ذلك. الدين النصيحة، سواء كان كافرا أصليا تدعوه إلى الإسلام، توضح له محاسن الدين، ولا أنه والعياذ بالله ارتدى عن الدين، تنصحه إلى الرجوع وإلى التوبة، ولا هو مسلم يعني ما زال مسلما لكن متهاون متساهل وقع في بعض الفسق، لا شك في ذلك. أنت تنصحه وتجمع بين الإحسان إلى زميلك في الشغل والدعوة إلى الله، ولعله يقدرك، ولعل الله تعالى يرزقك ويعني يأتيك رزق أكثر بسبب بركة النصح، والله تعالى أعلم. ولا يجوز السكوت، لا يجوز السكوت، أنا في الدنيا أنا في الشغل، لا يجوز، لابد المسلم يكون له يعني ينصح مهما كان، والله أعلم.
Chicago, Illinois. What is better, going through a curriculum of books or mastering one sole book in a field study? Like studying ثلاثة الأصول, قواعد الأربعة, نواقض الإسلام, كتاب التوحيد versus only studying كتاب التوحيد and making it your reference.
Question is regarding what's best, to go through a series of books like a curriculum, levels and stages, or to stick with one book and make it your reference. The question makes no sense. And that's because if there are levels to the books, according to this one author, let alone other authors, then it's meant for you to graduate and to progress. So it's impossible for you to want to benefit from the author's works, and the author himself is telling you first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. So how do we graduate the different grades in schools? Through evaluation. You have a test, you have an exam, you're now what? You're done. You're free to review the information from elementary school whenever you want to. What are the primary colors? If I asked you right now. Red? Blue? You get the point or not? All right, what's the conversion rate between a centimeter, an inch, an ounce, a pound? You get the point I'm trying to make. So you're free to review that information what? Whenever you want to, but you can't stay on the primary colors for the rest of your life. It's meant for you to learn and then, so review, you revise, but at the same time you must graduate. And once you've reached a certain level of proficiency in a field or with one author, and this is the main and most important book that you want to keep going back to, that's fine. And it's very important, as we explained in the way of the disciple, to have the proper understanding on how to seek knowledge systematically, and never ever sticking just to one book, staying in one book for the rest of your life besides the Quran. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
FS Club Senegal. When a sister is leading a group of sisters in Salah, does she stand in the same line as them, or she has to advance a little bit to the front?
Some scholars say that a woman should stand in the middle of the row, as it's mentioned from Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha and perhaps others. Is what Aisha radiallahu anha did a proof and an evidence? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, إِنَّمَا النِّسَاءُ شَقَائِقُ الرِّجَالِ, women are the twins of men. يعني ما ثبت في حق الرجال من الأحكام فإنه يثبت في حق النساء إلا ما دل على خصوصية. هذه القاعدة مبنية أو يعني أهل العلم استخرجوا هذه القاعدة من هذا الحديث وغيره من النصوص. إنما النساء يعني ما النساء إلا شقائق الرجال. So one way of looking at it is that we should stick with what Aisha did, or what is narrated from her. And others may say a woman can stand in the front like an imam, whereas that is what has been established for men, and the rules are men are the rules for women until proven to be specific. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
U.S. Stockton, California. How often should a Muslim wear his belt or traditional attire, do you think?
What do I think concerning how often a Muslim man should wear his thobe or his traditional clothing? Well, the question is clear. The question clearly says what you think. My answer is every day. If you like wearing thobes, if it's comfortable for you, you feel like a good Muslim, wear it every day. If you like your culture, you take pride in your culture, it's a personal choice. If there's no harm, there's nothing bothering you, Bismillah. Why not? If you like tea, you have it every day, right? Multiple times a day because you like it, you enjoy it. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
8A, Syracuse, New York. When keeping up Fajr, do we recite the Surah al-Fatiha aloud or keep quiet?
When doing what?
When making up Fajr?
When making up Fajr. Some scholars say is that when you're making up a missed prayer, you make it up in the same way, the same manner that you would make up the prayer during its proper time. And that's based off of a rule. And al-qada'a, they say that making things up takes the ruling of what? Al-ada'. يعني كما أنك تؤدي أنك تقضي. Okay? So some scholars say that you make up the prayer exactly as it was missed. As it would have been made during its proper time. Now, and other scholars, they say if you missed a prayer in which you recited out loud during the daytime, you make it silently. Whereas the asl, the origin, the rule of thumb of daytime prayers is that they are to be silent unless it's Jumu'ah or Eid, something like that. So for argument's sake, I missed Isha last night, I overslept, I woke up, I even passed Fajr, you will make Isha silently. And others, they say, rather, you should recite it audibly. So it's optional, inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu ta'ala alam. I'm sorry? Fadal.
That's HDC. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Do you know if there is an Arabic to English translation of Al-Mughni?
Wa fikum barakallah. Haykallah Shams. No, I'm unaware of that. Sorry. I can look into it for you, but I'm unaware of it.
You in Stockton, California. When does Isha end?
When does Salat al-Isha end? Inshallah, when Fajr comes in. Wallahu alam. Fadal Talib.
What's the proper understanding of the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever builds a masjid for Allah, Allah will build a house for him?
What's the proper understanding of that hadith? Whoever builds a house for Allah, Allah builds a house for him in paradise. One thing we can agree upon with regards to the proper understanding of this hadith is the high encouragement to build masjids. We can all agree on that. Number two, does it mean that a Muslim is يعني المثلية? Is that the nature of the masjid you build will be the nature of your palace in paradise? Or does it speak about the reward and the nature of the reward? Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma is quoted to have said, إنه أو يعني إن ليس في الجنة مما في الدنيا إلا الأسماء. That whatever is in paradise and is also in this world, the only comparison and the only similarity is a name. That's it. Wine. Khamr. لذة للشاربين. Khamr. And the only similarity or likeness or closeness between wine and the two worlds is just the name. That's it. So you build a house for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world, there's no comparison to the palaces of Jannah. Period. A house in Jannah. And we know that the lowest person in paradise, what reward he will have. The most basic standard of paradise, what it's like. So many different texts about these things, right? So therefore, with that being said, it seems as if Allah Ta'ala Alam is the reward. And others, they may say, rather, it is in size and nature. Based off what you contribute and what you build and what you make. Wallahu Ta'ala Alam. But of course, Allah gives much more than that which you give. That's a fact. Wallahu Alam. You do what you can. And you get based off of what you donate. Wallahu Alam. That supports the first interpretation. Wallahu Alam. Khair, inshallah, we'll stop here tonight. If there are no other questions, subhanakallahumma hamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk wa jazakumullahu khairan.